I love working in documentary films. I worked for this sort of extraordinary Israeli woman in New York City, and we were given money by the Cosby family, so by Bill and Camille Cosby, and we moved down. So I was 21, 22, and we moved down to inner city Atlanta, and we were making a documentary about whether or not young black men who had already been in trouble with the law could change their lives by getting relatively normal jobs and getting a little bit of mentoring at the same time. So we were following them around for a year. So that was that was an eye opener in many, many ways for me. I'd certainly never lived in an all black community. There basically weren't any in England in the 1970s when I grew up. But that's sort of where I found myself in the early 90s. And, I'd also never understood, a lot of what you get fed in the press about, I can't remember there's a stat about, how when you see black on TV, you normally see poor on TV. And I think it's something like 60% of all black people on TV from the black underclass. But of course, when you go to Atlanta in the early 90s, you realize there's this enormous black middle class and upper middle class. And it was a very different, you're like, oh my God, this is America too. And that was something that was absolutely eye-opening for me. It was a fascinating way to start working career. And that lasted about 2 to 3 years before I sort of moved on to another project. And then I finally had started writing at night. And then, by the time I was, I think, 26, I found an agent. And by the time I was 27, I had my first book deal.